Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Spanner Man again with another video, so stay tuned, enjoy the video, give us a thumbs up, give us some comments and subscribe to the channel. Bye for now. Yeah, g'day YouTubers, Spanner Man again here with another video. Today we're going to talk about chainsaw grinding angles. There's only really two that you're interested, and that is the top plate angle and top plate cutting angle, or for another word, this is the angle that the head tilts, always tilts to the right. Now, for those that are maybe not a little bit familiar, top plate angle is this angle here. Top plate cutting angle is the beveled edge that's on there, and it's normally at 60 degrees. Now, when we talk about 60 degrees, we're talking 60 degrees from a horizontal plane. So we go from 0 degrees all the way up to here, which is 60 degrees angle coming down like that. I've got this set at 55. I prefer 55. It's just a nice all-rounder angle. Look, you can play a couple of degrees either side, but I wouldn't go much more than a couple of degrees either side. 5 degrees this way, 5 degrees that way. That's about it. So there's a little bit of movement there. Most people are using 30 degrees. Now, the other thing interesting about the 30 degree top plate angle is this is the so-called 30 degree top plate angle. But if you measure this side and this side, it's not 30 degrees, it's actually 60. So why do they refer to it as 30 degrees? Well, you've got to go back before chainsaw grinders were around, and what they used to do was put a file at 90 degrees to the bar, and they would move 30 degrees to the right or 30 degrees to the left. So that's typically what they done back then. So when they got grinders, which firstly started to appear, first commercial grinder started to appear around late 50s, and then probably look by the 80s and 90s, these were fairly commonplace. A lot of cheap plastic ones, and the much better ones started coming. This is a clone of a Oregon 511. So just to reiterate, if we hold a file perpendicular to the chainsaw bar and we move 30 degrees to the right or 30 degrees to the left, which 30 degrees is the most common. Now, the only reason I said this is actually 60 degree angle, if from that side to that side, but we still refer it to 30 degrees because it's referred to as a filing angle. And that's how they got the 30 degrees, from the filing angle. This angle here, as I said, is normally set at about 60 degrees angle. It is a 60 degree angle that is for the top plate beveled edge, the cutting edge. And when we do use a grinder, we do light, gentle tap. So as we bring the wheel down, we don't bring it down and hold it. We bring it down and tap it. The slight tap, 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 off and on. So the only thing that's really important in chainsaw grinding is this top edge, this top plate edge. And as I said, the beveled edge here and the side plate. If you can keep this edge razor sharp, you're going to have no trouble cutting. The only other thing that's critical is that you make sure that you check this depth gauge here fairly regularly and make sure that it's within specification. You're better off using a progressive depth gauge than the standard depth gauge. Now, when I spoke before about the 30 degree angle, you can see on here this still gauge is marked 30 degrees, but if you get a protractor and you put the protractor on 60 degrees, it lines up with the 30 degrees. No matter how you put the protractor, you can't get 30 degrees because remember, I said the 30 degrees worked perpendicular to the bar. In this case here, this is the guide rails. So if we hold a file perpendicular to the guide rail, move 30 degrees to the right or 30 degrees to the left. So that's just an interesting one there. So you just have to be careful of angles to make sure that you are with the right angle. If you've just got one of these grinders, then you don't have to be concerned with angles that are there for purposes for reference. If we hold something vertical like this, we can say that the point is representing 90 degrees. So therefore, if on the horizontal plane we're at 0 degrees, we move up to our 60 degree angle. That's our 60 degrees. But if we hold it at 90 degrees, it means that we're moving the head over 30 degrees. Long as you've got that in your mind about the 30 degrees and the 60 degrees, and most of the degrees are reference point. 90 degrees is a fairly standard reference. 90 and 0. 0 is used, well, 0 is used here on the top plate. It's also used on a compound saw. It's used on lathes, 0. So 0 is used everywhere, and so is 90. So the only thing that can get it even more confusing is that I'm going to buy a Stihl grinder. So I've got that one on order. That's going to be interesting. The funny part about the Stihl USG grinder, rather than start from 90, they start from 0. It's the opposite. So that can throw people out of whack. Anyway, what I did, I just drew a graph up there, and there's my graph there. Whether you can see that, you should be able to see that. So if we look down the bottom, Stihl use 0 degrees for their reference, and Oregon use 90 degrees for their reference. So it's backwards. That's all you've got to remember. It's just backwards. No big deal. The funny thing is, you can look up the Stihl manual, and I did that. No reference to the Oregon or vice versa. You can look up an Oregon. It just doesn't tell you. There is virtually no information in any of the manuals. Look, I hope that information helps. It was just a bit of a brief tutorial about angles. It's only meant to help the people who've got a Stihl USG grinder, because it can almost do your head in trying to figure out what the angles are, because they don't correspond to the Oregon or vice versa. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.